Okay, any questions? Yes, bro.
Yeah, I just have one question, and it's more of like just, it's not so much a question of my own, but it's just the argument is there. The argument I've heard for the idea of kind of altering to fit with society or whatever in order to preach, is that in our tradition, this is like a commonality in our tradition of changing things to fit it to the people that you're trying to preach to best, so that they accept the Krishna consciousness and not reject it. So how do we use that argument and reconcile the idea?
I mean, when Prabhupada was, before he came to the West, they had some functionaries there of the Gaudiya Math, the sannyasis, who were all invited. And at that table, they had silverware. And, Prabhupada didn't know which fork or which knife or whatever thing. And so one of his godbrothers ridiculed him and said, "You're going to the West, you don't know how to eat with knife and fork?" And Prabhupada said, "When I go there, I'll teach them how to eat with their fingers." So, why can't we teach the America? Why do we have to say that we're in America? Why can't we say, this is Vaikuntha, this is not America, this temple is not the material world, this is not Boston, this is the spiritual world here. When you come in here, it's a different, why do we have to cater to your customs? I mean, we can't break the law, that's another thing. There can be some adjustment, like the Prabhupada did make adjustment. Bhaktisiddhanta never allowed women to live in the temple. Brahmacharinis, there was no such thing as brahmachari. Prabhupada instituted that. Because he saw the custom was there. But Acharya can do like that. And Prabhupada was preaching in America for 10 years. He didn't see the need of making some more adjustment. He was very straightforward on this issue of women's liberation. He spoke about it quite often to the female reporters in open Chicago airport, on the television, everything. He didn't compromise in saying, well, actually, women are the same as men. No, they're different. They have different needs and different, you can say, expertise also. So, why should we compromise for that? We don't have to. If we stick to the basics, strong kirtan, people will be attracted. Like last night we went to the program, a lot of people were there, and then they asked me to give a class as soon as I got there. I said, no, let's first of all do kirtan, then it'll get us in a better mood. So we did kirtan for 20 minutes or so, and then I stopped and I said, so everybody feels better? And they all said, yeah. So kirtan, we don't have to practice yoga and all these things. Kirtan will attract people if we do it nicely. We are making so many devotees with kirtan. Now you have a good facility here, good place to do Harinam. That you should emphasize that. You want to make devotees. Go out and chant nicely. People will be attracted. We made so many devotees. We used to do Harinam, like in New York and these places, Boston too. We did Harinam every day. For hours, sometimes in New York, we do it 6-8 hours a day, Harinam. Of course, book distribution is also the big Mridanga. When book distribution started, sometimes the Harinam party wasn't as strong because the book distributors would go separately, carry clothes sometimes and go to the airport or whatever. But still, the Harinam was a potent way of making devotees. Mridanga cartels. And we see, like yesterday, the people who are coming, they're very enthusiastic in the kirtan. You see, even the old men are dancing, so. Old man like who's this old man who?
Lakshmi Narayan.
Yeah. He dances very nicely, right? Yeah, so that means the kirtan. This is our unique feature. There's so many, Chinmayananda mission, this mission, that mission, but nobody has the Lord Chaitanya's kirtan with dancing. And they don't, a lot of times the Hindus don't like it. Oh, what if this is So that question came in London. Mukunda Maharaj was in charge of the Hindu preaching. So he came to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, some of our members, They don't like the dancing in the kirtan. So Prabhupada became thoughtful and he said, no, I cannot check their ecstasy. He didn't want to stop the devotees from chanting. I mean, if it became too much, there was another incident in Chicago where they were, too much crazy dancing. Then Prabhupada said, we should dance like this. He showed the Swami step. So there's some consideration, but generally we're encouraged to dance. That was Lord Chaitanya's movement. We see him dancing. Here he is. This is a very nice. Who made this? Is Chaturani's or?
I'm not sure. I would imagine.
It's nice.
So.
It's an old one. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
it's extremely old. Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya really looks ecstatic, with his eyes looking up. So why do we have to change something? What do we want to change? That wasn't there in 1976 when Prabhupada was here. He was in New York. There was a Rath Yatra. That was the last time Prabhupada was in America. He saw what was going on. So what has changed since 1976? That we should... we can get result from the same program. You had a question?
Yeah, you were mentioning Prabhupada's instructions on homosexuality, and I get how can we practically understand the points you were talking about? Because to some of those who grew up in my generation, it may seem like, that's...
The point is that sex life is the most binding activity. It pins us to the body. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says, I am sex life which is not contrary to Dharma. Dharma, Prabhupada explains, the Dharma of sex life is to beget children. Why that intense pleasure is there? Nature is giving us that intense pleasure. Because on the other side there's a big responsibility, raising a child. So if that option, if it's not open, that this child may be created by the sex life, then it's not according to Dharma. If it's just done for entertainment, then it's not according to Dharma. So that sex life, which is contrary to religious principle, is sinful. I mean, sinful is a bad word, sin, because but there are two. Another way to look at it: those activities which bind you to the material world, and those activities which liberate you from the material world. So sex life can be also liberating. It's like Bhaktivinoda had 13 children or something, so he must have had sex life, right? But those activities, he created Bhakti Siddhanta, which is sex life. Therefore, we can say this is devotional activity. Sex life is also devotional. So, there were many homosexuals who came to Prabhupada, and some of them are still active. Well, I mean, at the time we didn't know they were homosexuals. We were also fired up, just, it wasn't until after Prabhupada left kind of that some of them had problems, and then we saw that they actually were homosexual, and they had, not only they had problems, the heterosexuals had problems also. But still, Prabhupada's point was, we shouldn't sanction those things. I mean, it's just like if somebody comes and they ask us, well, I'm running a chicken shop, and I know you people don't like beef. Sometimes they have advertisement. The cow is saying, don't eat chicken or something. How does it go? So we can't sanction that and say, okay, yeah, it's all right to eat chicken, because it's also killing. I mean, it's true that it's better to eat chicken than it is to eat cows, but we're not going to make a campaign or give our blessing to the chicken shop. We don't get involved in that. You know, we keep it aloof. We say no meat. So we say no illicit sex. This is our regulated principle. So when the homosexual says, well, what's wrong? I want to stay with my boyfriend. Then, you know, if you want to do it, that's your business, but don't ask for my blessing.